All right, sorry, I forgot recording. All right, so just to recap real quick, we are going to be going over how to create your signature business. Bear with me. And we're talking about this big brand message and these steps to take. So one, knowing your story, knowing what you want to see different in the world, and really getting clear on your own why. I think that's a huge step because also that allows you to have empathy. And empathy is the second part of the equation. But what's most important is what? You may be specializing in hormone. You may be specializing in gut and autoimmune. And maybe you had this horrific story of food intolerances that led to environmental sensitivities, and you found out that you have an autoimmune, and the story just went on and on. But the key of conversion is knowing what your ideal client is coming to you for. And that is the switch. That's like the Harvard switch in anybody's business. And so for some people, they will go and they will research, they will look at other coaches and see what they're doing. That's one. Two, they will come out on, Facebook and do kind of investigative research by saying, hey, I have 10 spots. And I highly encourage you to do this. I did this in my business in year 2. I said, I have 10 spots for people in this group that I'm doing. It's called beta testing. And that's why I always say to coaches, before you go and build your entire business, which was the conversation I actually had with 3 coaches on Zoom yesterday. I said, before we go and create everything, let's test this first. Let's test with opt-in freebies, test with your messaging, test to see what people really desire. And also start to go into groups if you're doing this online and find out, do a poll and a survey. What are busy moms struggling with? So remember, you have your niche, that could be gut. So for today's topic, we're talking about gut and we're talking about autoimmune and let's just say like sugar weight loss. But within that is your avatar, your ideal client. And that is specific, of course, to you. So the question always becomes in the beginning of business, then where do I start? So what I want to talk about today is some where to start simplified steps. So remember, number one, know your story. Because for me, and this doesn't mean that this is how every coach teaches, I have to identify with somebody. I have to either identify with their mission, their vision. I have to be inspired by them. And I also need to see transparency and authenticity. And that just is what works for me. I'm also I get really fired up by somebody who is just that breaks the mold and is the myth, demystifier, because they're sitting there telling the truth of what is really out there happening. And those are the people that I hire, whether it's for copywriting, website, social media, coaches to help write programs. It's the people I'm attracted to. So when you think about your business, also think about what were some of the things that either you experienced or that subconsciously that the person who is struggling with gut, what is, and I'll just do one avatar, we'll call her Lisa. What is Lisa, who is, she has 2 kids, she is doing a 9 to 5, which we know is really about a 7:30 to 6:30. She's busy, she's got kids, she's got these gut issues, but she doesn't even know she has gut issues. Drop a 1 if you know Elisa. This person, she instead, hair is falling out, bags under the eyes, feels really tired all the time. Definitely belly bloat and an uncomfortableness. I wouldn't know if she would say the word pain, but she definitely feels a tightness under her breastbone when she eats. She definitely complains about acid reflux, and especially when she's stressed. How many of you know even another person? We'll call her Mary. Mary works from home. So she still has high stress And her gut issues are more glaring. She eats and her stomach literally bloats up. She's been having like hives and histamine reactions, and she knows that were because even when she was a kid, she had food allergies. And so she went and got allergy testing. And so she's been through what I call the system. She knows words like histamine reaction, IgE. She knows words that somebody would say if she went to an allergist. So if I'm speaking to Mary's avatar in my gut business, I'm going to say things like, have you been to an allergist and told that you weren't allergic to any foods, or that you had maybe a sensitivity, but it wasn't showing up, but you have a sneaky suspicion? Because every time you eat almond, you're bent over, you don't feel good, or every time you eat grains, you just feel off. You have this intuitive feeling that dairy just doesn't do right for you because you literally can't even sleep the night you eat it. How many of us know a Mary? Drop a 2. Then I'm going to do a last avatar. And again, these could be in your business. I call this like the game changer, is that knowing how to speak to these different people. They're all under gut. They all have different problems. They all are in different stages of their problems. Our first Lisa may never even get to an autoimmune state. She may not even know the word leaky gut. She may know words like microbiome because everyone's saying it. She might know mood, food because it's in Shape magazine. So it's really important. Another kind of learning of what is kind of feeding what I call your client's, brain, is looking at what I call industry standard magazines. What is being said on the news? Keep a notebook, or every time have like something like this. Just jot down every time you see something pop up on the news. You see a commercial, you see something advertised, you see Shape magazine or Vogue, or some magazine that almost everyone gets. What are they talking about? And so she might be like, oh, they were talking about mood and food right now because it's such a hot topic. So I wouldn't just come out and talk about gut, because she might even not know that. I would take words that are already being used right now and infuse them into the things that come out of my mouth. Because one of the biggest things I'm seeing with coaches is we can depend on automation. We can do Facebook ads, but unless you know your target audience and what they desire and need. How many of you know people who've just flushed Facebook ad money down the toilet, boosting money, and they're not converting? So I always say you really have to know your audience. What is their age range? Do you attract men and women? It just personality wise, do you work best with women or men, couples, families? Who is your ideal client? What does their week look like? What does their Monday look like? What are they doing at 9 o'clock in the morning? Are they working from home? Are they driving to the office? Are they in sales? This is when you get into like the demographic and also their daily habits. Because within their daily habits of their life come the problems, come the issues that they are coming to you for, because they need to hack their day. They need to know, how do I get through this? I don't feel well. I've got a headache. Well, if you're talking about gut and sugar, it's real easy to make that connection. Or you're even talking about eating foods with pesticides, being outside and having environmental, toxins affect us, or going into, Nordstrom and being hit with the perfumes. That can be an entire gut detox conversation, gut autoimmune, gut weight, anything. So really want you guys just need to get something to drink. I want you guys not just to write down the pain points, because that is a huge step. You have to write down, what is that ideal client looking for? What is their pain and what solution do they need to hear? The solution becomes the opt-in freebie. It becomes the talk. It becomes the offering. But you don't often know that. So like I said, it's great to say, hey, you know what? I'm doing a free giveaway of coaching. And in that, say, you know, I'm going to give you a 5-day program or 7-day program in exchange for a 20-minute interview. This is what one of our coaches, Katrina, did, you know, after she had a launch, but she didn't have a launch to the level of success that she needed nor desired for her business. And so she took time to interview, and she interviewed 30 people. And after that, she had such clarity on who her ideal client was and had an awakening moment because she realized she was missing this huge piece that she wasn't even talking about. You can also, second part, as I said, you can do this, right, even go into a local place, somebody that already knows you and say, hey, you know what, I'm going to put a table here. I did this in so many places, guys. It's talking to people that gives you your data. So you can hire somebody, of course, to do, to kind of put like a Bible together of your ideal client and their problems and their pain points. And you can look at 5 competitors in a very similar, of course, niche as you and see what they're talking about. But at the end of the day, the intuitive funnel really gets created when you start to talk to people, get to know what they like, and also watch engagement. If you are on social media, watch engagement on your posts. See what posts have the highest likes, see what people enjoy you talking about, and even go onto your page and say, you know what, especially if you're a new coach, I am so excited to launch my business. You can even do this on your personal page. It's not selling. It's just the excitement. Say, I'm launching my business. I would love to know 10 topics that you guys are struggling with that I can hit home hard. So those are just some simple things to do when, we're kind of confused where to start. I wanted to just also give a little quick understanding of, because I think it can be difficult to see. Why do we need this? And I'm just going to get this out of design view. Just real quick. And then we're going to map out some stuff. So I just brought this up real quick today because in your business, you want different opportunities to work with you. Not everyone's going to be ideal for a one-on-one. And even if they are ideal for a one-on-one, I want you to write down on a piece of paper, in my one-on-one business, what are the different ways to work with me? On your work with me page, do you have an entry single session? If you do, put a box right on your page. Just make like a square. Just like this. Just put these squares. This being your single session. After your single session, where do they graduate to? Do you say to them, hey, it's really been great to work with you, and we had such success that it would be amazing for us to deep dive. These are some other ways to work with me. So, of course, an upsell to your one-on-one is either a VIP day. An upsell also could be, hey, I'm doing this group, or an upsell, would be to like your 3-month program. Like, hey, we were able to accomplish this, but imagine if we had 3 months. So maybe you have a single session, a 1 month that is like a 30-day kind of just jump start, and then a 3 or 4 month, which is a longer journey. So a single upsell, and that just means that you're saying, hey, here are these different ways. But what if that person does not? They don't have the money. They don't have the money to work with you. And they say, you know what? It would be really great to work with you, but I only had the money for, for working together for a single session. So what I thought we would do, and if anybody wants to offer themselves, I thought that we would just do a little quick map of funnels. And again, feel free to raise your hand if you want to. But this is what I always say. I'm just going to make this a little bigger. This is a template. Let's just say that a template for funnel, because again, when you're thinking about your business, this is going to come down. It's like as personal as the jeans that you buy. They have to fit for you. I fit great in J brand, but not everyone does. Your business and your funnel have to fit for your business. So the thing that I always say is you could have your work with me page. You have your one-on-one. I believe in a 3-tier, 2 or 3. But let's just go with what I call the Brendan Bouchard style. And I learned this actually years ago, not because Brendan is or was my coach, but because I started seeing what other coaches were doing, and I realized that there was only the school that I graduated from and a few others teaching a 6-month model. And I realized that 6-month model takes a lot of trust. And that is what a funnel is all about. It's building the trust, having those multiple dates. So somebody says, 100%, 6 months with you, I am committing. I'm going to find the money. I'm going to find a way to do it, and drop a 3 if you've seen that in your business. When you get so clear on the journey that you're taking that client through, and you know it's proven and you believe in it, people, one, you can change it. You can increase your prices, but 2, people pay for it. So let's just say you have a single session and you also have a 1 month. So we'll just make these small. A single session, you have a 1 month start. And the next is, let's just say you have a 4-month journey, or a 3-month, because we're doing 3 months. A lot of people, and the thing that I did for better conversions, because people would always say, well, what are you doing in a single session? I gave a 7-day or a 14-day program. I had some clients over the years, no joke, they were with me for about 5 years, and every month they only wanted to do a single session unless I was working with the entire family. It just was what worked for their personality. And that's what you also have to think about, your buyer avatar personality. That worked, let's call her Jay. That worked for Jay all the time. She was, even before she had a baby, that was just her personality. She was like, I love having my plan for the month. And then I want to come back. So maybe your 1 month includes a 21-day program, also called, we're just going to say Gateway. And the whole point of having this, what we call hero journey, is it's going to take them through steps. And I talk about this in my membership. This is going to take them 0 to 4. 0 being, unaware, like not knowing, feeding into everything that they're fed on TV, all that different stuff, or 0 just being at that point where, we're at the sad American diet, no matter what. 1 being I call this getting back to the basics. For some of you, and I talked to a coach yesterday who is an autoimmune coach. She works with people with autoimmune, people with Hashimoto's. We talked about when there's autoimmune, there is a multi-layered business. And often coaches will need, like I needed, different programs because every person with an autoimmune is so different. And doesn't mean that, of course, in if you're a mindset coach, that your clients aren't all different. I just think that there's a different process that the body goes through when you're peeling back layers of the autoimmune. So for me, one was getting back to the basics, and this was, removal, as I hear from all of you, removal of the junk, gluten, processed foods. For some of you, it's, of course, it's sugar. I mean, I don't need to get into nitrates, all that stuff. 2 is, what is that next level? Where are you then taking them? And that the 1, this is like stage 1. This is what I call a whole business funnel. We can get into email marketing and strategy of, if somebody doesn't buy, where do they go? But I really want to focus on structuring your business first with a simple template. That 1 month jumpstart, that's like stage 2. For some people, you might have a single session that's 90 minutes. This is what Brendan Bouchard does. And this might be a 2 month. You might have a 90 minute, 2 month, and 4 month. Again, depending on people that you work with. Some, I know many hormone coaches, many autoimmune coaches, there's a 6 month. I had many clients who were with me for 2-3 years, or we were working in teams and they would, leave for a little and then come back. But that was not uncommon. Or people with food allergies. It wasn't uncommon for me to have somebody for a year or a year and a half, and working with them with their team of, doctors and different people. But your gateway should be like stage 2, like, hey, so we've cleaned this up in this single session. Wouldn't it be great to work together? Here are the other ways. This 3 month is like stage 3/4, because you have those months to really go through these different processes, these different steps that, step 1, 2, 3, that person is going to take with you. Even if you don't follow a program completely, even if you bought like 3 month Eat with Intention or Mindset Makeover or 4 month Reboot, and that client is not sticking to it entirely, nobody usually does, because we're people and we have different needs. But the nice thing here is, when you have this, you have an opportunity. So I'm just going to put this to upsell to your 1 month or 3 month opportunity. Just put that right in the middle. Put that. If they don't, and let's just make it a little smaller. If they don't go to that one, that 1 or 3 month, and they say things like, I don't have the money, then where are we going? That's all that I want you to think about when you think of a funnel. Then where are we going? Where am I taking this person? Why am I taking them? Why do I believe this is the next step? It's the same thing with an opt-in freebie. I have this opt-in freebie because it solves this problem. It solves this problem, and it's my job to think about all these different kinds of people, these different avatars, their biggest problems, and how to communicate clearly. Hey, if you're struggling with, skin issues and your hair is falling out and you have no libido and you're waking up and you feel like you literally need to go back to sleep the moment you wake up, and you got bags in your eyes, and you want to go and exercise, but you have no energy. This was what happened to me. Or this is what happens to my clients. Or, this is what I see as a common theme happening now in the world. We are in a mystery illness autoimmune state. Or we are in a state of, people with sickness and disease, because this whole world is addicted to sugar. Very clear statements, because they are statements that are out there. from Fed Up, from Mark Hyman, from, pull from teachers, pull from the work of Terry Walls and talk about this autoimmune crisis, or Anne-Louise Gittleman, this metabolism crisis, this weight loss, the thyroid, the whole body just not really working in alignment. So it's our job to be the front of our funnel. We are our funnel. And I think that's where we often step back. We're like, oh, I'm just going to do the 10 smoothie. It's one of my favorite ones, 10 smoothie bowls, because I think not only is it great for a Pinterest image, everyone loves recipes. I think it also can be like one smoothie bowl a day kind of fun challenge, and give away a session with you, which is such a great list building fun thing. Get people into a group. I did challenges and I didn't even do support emails, but you could be like, take a picture or give a $25 gift card to Amazon. We have to communicate, why is that smoothie bowl recipe so fun? If it's for busy moms, it's so fun because you could make it even the night before and have it. Your kids love it. If it's for gut, we're going to talk about how essential it is to have these easy to digest foods, these foods that are probiotic rich. And I'm going to talk about coconut milk kefir, because that has 15 strains of different bacteria versus yogurt. And I'm also going to talk about coconut milk being great in fat, and also have lauric acid and all those great good things that the gut needs. I'm going to go into specifics. So, okay, now we go on to, if I don't have the money. This is when we go into a downsell. And the only reason that I wanted to explain this is that I know, especially if you're in my free group or you see me comment in different places, you might sit there and say, what is she talking about when she talks about these different opportunities that she had on her one-on-one? So I wanted to really break it down, and then we can get into moving away from the template, because then you're going to see how you're going to create a system that always works for you, so that what? You're always changing lives and making money, changing lives and making money, so that you don't ever miss an opportunity. So opportunity number one is a group. Let me just make this a little bigger. Opportunity number two is a do-it-yourself. Those are wonderful. Those are also what we call low cost trust builders. Anywhere from 7 to 47, $57. I mean, some people, of course, have them at 77. Opportunity three is you have a membership. So how do you put this all together? And how do you also create a system for your business where you're getting out of what I call the just crazy launch mode, because everyone just feels like you can't keep up. Is that you start to say, okay, I'm going to take my one-on-one. I'm going to make sure that my one-on-one really showcases and features my process, the process that you help somebody get better with. And so for each of you, I want you to even write that down right now. And it's not just, I have my clients go raw and eat vegan, or I have my clients go vegetarian. What step do you have your client or desire? If you don't have clients right now, what step do you know they have to take first? This is without hesitation. Write that down. Is it that they need to detox their body? But ask yourself, would your ideal client, and I said this to someone, the other day, would they be scared by the word detox? Don't just buy, or don't just promote or put on your site something that you want. It has to be things that you test even before. Like I have one client, I have her doing a poll in 3 places. Would you guys rather because she specializes in so many areas. She's an intuitive coach. She's also a functional medicine practitioner. She is really amazing. And she's gone through, oh my God, I mean, literally has brought herself back from the dead. Her story is unbelievable. From skin issues to needing to wear a mask, even to being outside, to having a stomach that looked like she was 8 months pregnant, kidney failure. Like there was so much stuff, and her story is so profound. I mean, that's just 4 of the 25 things that she has recovered from, and did it on her own. So we're doing a poll because she can't figure out in her business why she's not having this massive growth. And I said, because right now you're not super clear. You know what you went through. And that is a profound story. That's trust, even just in the transparency of either this is what I went through or this is what I struggled with. And that struggle, guys, could be sugar addiction. It could be the feeling of feeling inadequate your whole life. And so you work with people who had past trauma, and maybe it's trauma that led to binge eating, or maybe you work with people to really create, the blueprint for how you don't stress eat or go right to sugar. Again, it's whatever you envision your business as. But I'm having her do a poll and saying to people, are you interested for this October group? And guys, you've asked, this is just template verbiage. You've asked, and I really wanted to listen. So in October, I'm launching my first ever group. And I want to know, do you want a hormone detox or an autoimmune this? Because she has, as many of you, so many different parts of not only her story, but really her expertise. And so we're trying to get it more clear and more focused so that she really converts, especially in the online space. If you are struggling in the online space, just a quick note, I really encourage you to go local. Your own, and I say this all the time, your own acupuncturist, your own health food store, your own gym. If your gym has somebody already, find a mom and pop kind of place, karate studios, go to your local chamber of commerce. You're going to have to go to some of these either networking events, or you're going to have to do what I did, which was, let me even see if I have them. Hold on, guys. I know I saw it the other day, and I just have to see where I saw it because they're so cool. Okay. I just had to. When we're inspired, we just have to launch, right? Okay, I'm going to show you exactly what I made. These were game changers. And a lot of people would ask me, this was at a time where these had just kind of come into play. People were doing these. This was my signature recipe on the back. This was, of course, exactly, what I did, my information. Talked about the fact that I did in-person, Skype, the things that I offered, and a little tagline. Go in with those. I put those everywhere, which is why you see. And they also were in swag bags. So find places like spas, synagogues, churches. I'm actually with one of my oil team members doing an event at her synagogue. So find places, health fairs, look at them, especially if you're a new coach. This is the stuff that I did. I didn't spend money on Facebook ads. I only started actually doing that about 4 years ago. So I really encourage you, go local, go in and say to people who know you're a coach or fitness coach or whatever you do, yoga, and say, these are some of the workshops that I can do. Or would you like to co-collaborate on a program that we can, host the end of September? This is my vision. Just because a lot of people struggle in the online space. Doesn't mean that it's not doable, guys. It totally is when there's massive clarity. So if we have a group, let's just say with our group, 97, let's just do 97, because we're just going over a template. $97. And we're just going to say 20 people. And I know that might seem like a lot. Maybe it seems like a little. Or actually, let's go even more realistic for some person who says, I'm a brand new coach. Let's do 15. 1455. Then what you're going to do is you upsell right in that group. You send an email, you say, you know, for anybody who's really interested in having this personalized, I'm going to give you a sweet price. That could be an upsell. And this could, again, this could be 77. This could be 97. It's just, you're playing around with the numbers. You upsell to one-on-one. Always the goal is, you know, maybe like 3 people. Give them a sweet deal. You know, you could say, hey, you know what? I usually do 60 minutes. We're going to do 75 minutes for anybody who wants to get this personalized, because then I can really dig deep on your goals for this program. That can even be sent like even a few days, or even in the welcome letter. Hey, if you want to get this personalized for only an extra, let's even say like $75. 75 times 3, 225. Then also, what happens? You're either going to downsell after the group. Somebody might say, that was really awesome. You know, I just have so many questions. I have a bunch of clients doing live Q&A calls a month at $15. See the power of these. I also have clients doing low-cost master classes at $35 a month. I mean, well, they do it a month. We have people, of course, doing memberships anywhere from $17 to $67. These are all downsell opportunities. Or maybe somebody's like, you know what? That group was really awesome. I want to go to the next place with you. So what would the next place look like? If you don't know what the next opportunity is, because you haven't planned it out in your head, there just becomes a lot of overwhelm that happens. So the next opportunity could be a 3-month group. And so your system becomes gateway 3 months. And as you grow, like JJ, one of our, then this could turn into VIP days, you know, high ticket. This could turn into retreats, because all of a sudden you have an entire flow. So let's look at gut. So in my business, what I did, and again, this is my business, you know, not yours. What I always do with a one-on-one client is we sit there and we go over their story first. And this is what I said, just recapping their story, what they know their clients or potential clients' pain points are, because they talk to people. I'll say, you know what, let's write them down. Or what are some of the things that you know people struggle with, but we can get really specific, but let's just write them down in general. I know for me that I had like 3 pillars of my business. For me, it was detox. It was food allergies, as they were a moneymaker. So under gut was, here was my process. You've got to detox the body. And I talked about that constantly. We can't have healthy bile flow. We can't have a healthy gut. We can't have assimilation if we are overloaded with toxins. And then what happens? We have these food intolerances, these constant histamine reactions. And I also talked about autoimmune. So what did I have? I had a freebie, and an opt-in freebie bundle that actually had detox, and that's our gut. That is actually our gut health bundle right now, is a mirror of the bundle that I had. But I had a detox, I had a gut freebie, and then I had actually an essential oil one, because at the time I was really building. But within the gut, they also got a video, and I talked about food intolerances, and I talked about so many of these things that can happen. I also added in, for me, weight loss, because I found just a lot of people were coming to me, and the standard weight loss didn't work. So I said, you know what, I have a completely different approach. And this is one that you will never have to diet. And through my process, which was detox, going paleo, with of course the alkalinity part still being in there and supporting the body. But I realized through the elimination diet and through pulling out grains and all of these things, I just started feeling so much better. And paleo was a good fit for me. A paleo lower without nuts. So at that, I guess it would be almost like AIP these days, without nuts and seeds. And then it was detox, paleo, and then we worked on gut 101. And that was like the autoimmune part, or what I call just this chronic exhaustion. And that's what I found most people would say to me. I'm so tired. Exhaustion. I know I'm saying that. I'm so tired. I don't feel well. I feel like, everything I eat just sits there. But what also people were having, even though I was not clearly a hormone coach, and I'm still not, is underneath of this, because gut, these were things I talked about: adrenal issues, sugar addiction, sleep, libido. These were all my talking points, because these were all pain points. Skin issues, hair falling out. And I did talk a lot about the lymph, and I explained that's your trash can, but also your immune system. So you don't want your trash can, but where your immune system lives. I also talked about stress, because I had always a lot of stress, and that stress would lead. So I always connected these dots. So for me, having I actually had about 10 freebies, and they were on all different topics. From, I actually had the detox waters, infused waters. I had a paleo reset for women every day. I had a smoothie challenge, because I talked about not only the benefits of it, but that for gut, it was imperative. I had an oil pulling challenge. I had freebies on essential oils. I also had a grain-free freebie, because and that's just a list of a few, because what they led to, all freebies led to one place. And I encourage you, if you are at the infancy of your business or not making money, led to what? A one-on-one call. And that one-on-one call helped me to what? Understand, or you can always do a freebie, and you could have a Google form with questions, or create questions on you know, on a form, like on the thank you page, like, hey, you know, I have a few questions just so I can help you get really clear on, you know, the ways that I can work with you. You can also ask those questions like, right when they get into your email, you could say, hey, you know, if you can just take a few minutes, if you fill this out, I'm going to give you a bonus gift. And for those of you that are not in like automation where you can unlock a tag like ActiveCampaign or Infusionsoft or ConvertKit or, you know, all those wonderful things, or Ontraport, Kartra, Kajabi, everything. You can just keep it really simple. Freebie, they get the AR. Google form with like quiz questions, and I would make those, of course, gut related. But I would say things like, go back up here. Do you find that you have bags under your eyes all the time? Do you find yourself craving sugar even after you've eaten a full meal? Do you find yourself having sleep problems? Have you been told by your doctor that you have some blood sugar imbalances? Do you find that you have skin issues constantly, or did you struggle when you were younger with chronic yeast infections? Do you have toenail fungus? Do you have athlete's foot, or did you get athlete's foot at one time? Do you find that you have dandruff on your scalp? I would ask, do you have food intolerances, or have you ever been tested for food sensitivities? How do your bowels look? Marie Marlowe has an unbelievable quiz that actually pops up on our page with different questions. But again, keep it simple. The whole goal is that you're getting these answers, Google questions leading to a one-on-one call. And then what? You decide where they're going. If they can afford you, wonderful. They go into, or they go into your one-on-one. And if not, maybe you're having DIYs like I had. A detox, I had mine actually at 77, but then I changed it later to 57. I had a grain-free detox. Is the same thing. It was 57. That was the paleo program. I also had a 60-day grain-free. This was more an empowerment program, more of like the mindset part of gut. And this included actually 2 sessions. So even though it was a do-it-yourself, and if I remember, I had this at like 127. And I also had a 28-day, and this was Revitalized, because that was the second program we ever wrote. And that included 1 session. And I believe I had that at like, if I remember, 87 or something. So I'm going to just say 14-day. I want to just show you an example real quick, because somebody had asked me the other night in the webinar, can you show me some examples? And so I just want to show you, because I think Nicole Jardim does this so well. And for those of you, even though this is hormone, I want you to think of gut. Oh, I see her. Take her quiz. So I do believe in acuity, and I do believe in a bunch of other, you could even embed a quiz right into a form, of course, just like that is. That's just embedded in the HTML. So right here, this for 67, I would do like leaky gut. Well, again, whatever is, if it's gut, and you focus clearly on leaky gut, because I do think leaky gut is a pretty common word now. So leaky gut, I would do that, and then put it with like, you know, a 5-day gut challenge, or like a 5-day clean eating plan. Or look at this. You could put that even with like a 14-day, take out the video, say 14-day to fix your gut. Here's my 14-day fix your gut plan. That could be the paleo grain-free program. This could be right here, a 14-day detox. This could also, if you have the model where you're going from a low-cost group to a 1-year high ticket or even a 6-month high ticket. There are tons of people, because Nicole Jardines, I believe her system is more her low cost into her mentorship. My other clients are exactly the same. The ones who have gone from brick and mortar to completely online have created these kind of systems where there's a lot of these low cost trust building opportunities, because they want to bring them into their detox and then lead them into, let's just say, their graduation program. Like, you're going into the next level. You're going into this place. So stage 1 is back to the basics. Stage 2 is now let's kind of go deeper into this. For a gut, that could be the 8-week gut. That could be the adrenal program. That was a huge thing. That could be the AIP, for those of you who do AIP. That could be the Candida program. And I was talking to a coach the other day. If you didn't even want to use the word Candida, I would just take that and make it a gut program, because it dives so deep into gut health. But then what do you do on your one-on-one? You take those same programs and you put them into your one-on-one. And then when you're thinking about, okay, so what is my downsell rate? What are my live Q&A calls? If you really wanted to do monthly calls, you could, boom, 1 call on leaky gut, 1 call on autoimmune and flares. We put that together because I said, when you have an autoimmune, my biggest concern, and I've talked to every one of my clients, and this is why I know that it's a problem, and also for my clients who are in the mystery chronic autoimmune world, they always say, their clients, same thing. Biggest fear is to travel. Biggest fear is how to handle a flare. If you talk to any autoimmune warrior, they will say, man, I had a flare so long ago. Thank goodness I know how to handle it. That's like stage 3. The goal is you want to get somebody from 1, they're so toxic, they're so overwhelmed, they're so full of trash, to stage 3, where you know how do I call dance with the demon. Because you know the moment your adrenals are crashing, because you've been educated. You have to put yourself into your client's shoes. That's the thing. And that's why somebody hires us. It's because of the journey. Because when I sit there and go, thank God for this CBD oil, thank God for the homeopathy that I do, the essential oils, the foods that I eat, the things that I have figured out that work for me and don't, I get to share that knowledge. And even though there is somebody else, of course, not exactly like me, the way that I got clients is I constantly shared my story. And every client that I got said, I've never heard somebody with such a similar story. So if you're watching this and you agree, because you'll hear somebody and you'll say, wow, it was like they were literally telling my story. So I want you to think with gut and autoimmune can be interchangeable. If you're working with people with chronic illness, you really want to look at, okay, so what are the root problem causes that I can educate about? So I would, of course, have, just going to add another here. I would have my workshops, of course, to be 1 on detox. And we have the detox and immune, or the detox and weight loss. Because what is a key issue, and I heard this all the time, drop a 4 if you agree wherever you're watching this, is I can't tell you how many clients I had. You can think of her. She had so many things wrong. Her team was like a team full of doctors, Mayo Clinic, everything. But her biggest core issue, and I remember her saying this to me, she was like, Rachel, I have amazing doctors. I have amazing people. I have a rare XYZ, but it's the weight, and I feel depressed. and I feel sad. And it was me listening to her. If I would have been like, let's work on your gut, it's like she was telling me what was really wrong. And she actually said, I found you because I love that you talk so much about, gut and some of the issues that happen, like, waking up and being 3 pounds heavier. The moment, and only a gut person would know that, or an autoimmune, because the moment that happens, I immediately say, okay, my liver's tired, my adrenals are shot, my sugars are off. Because I've gone through that enough times. So I get to share that knowledge and say, if you're waking up and you're 3 pounds heavier, these are some of the things that happen to me. Stay tuned for this workshop that I'm doing in 2 weeks on exactly the 5 steps I take when that happens. That was actually an email that converted. And I remember because I sent it out during the holidays. I was staying at my parents' many years ago. And I said, if you wake up and you're 4 pounds heavier, you open this. And it was actually an email. This is what I mean about transparency. Talking about how the fact that I was taught to rotate probiotics, which there's an entire section in our fall detox at yourhealthcoachbiz.com that is all about rotational probiotics. And I said, I was taught this, and what I do? I deviated and I didn't do it. And so the moment that I switched that probiotic, just all of that, and it's just dysbiosis, which causes the big I word. And that's just inflammation. And then everything's a hot mess, and all the little funky monkeys start to have fun and make babies. So I said, if you're a probiotic, if you feel that what you're doing has stopped working for you, this was exactly my story. Hit reply. I got 6 clients one-on-one. Because I remember I was doing the sessions on Skype from the bottom of my parents' base, like in, where I was staying. And then I landed people who couldn't afford me into my group detox that was starting in January. So I would do workshops, SIBO, if that is the area. But again, you test it out. But I would not teach if that's not, a thing. I had SIBO, so it's a very, it's a pretty big one. But, this is the thing with gut. And that's why, this is autoimmune, gut, everything, sugar, is that these can all be interchangeable, because too much sugar causes massive inflammation in the body. It's going to deplete the gut flora. You could even have one on, stress in the gut, which we have, I think, in the fall one. This could even be for those of you who do what I call the crossover, meaning you're in the gut biz, but you do work with people, whether it's, in the hormone area. I never went hardcore hormones, but again, I had an adrenal one, and that was one that I did live at a yoga place. I had an adrenal. I had Candida. This was one over here. I had Candida and gut. So I just took my workshops. Even if you're buying done for you content, you're just using them as a platform so that you can add in and personalize them to fit your target audience. So I love to have, like I said, those ones and programs that, of course, would fit. Restore your gut. And I encourage you, and I say this to people all the time, if you're confused about what to get, please reach out. Don't sit there and buy something and not be happy with it. Reach out and get, on the phone with me. Restore your gut. This could also be 4-month reboot. Because what's nice in the 4-month reboot is you're touching on a bunch of the different topics. This could also be a grain-free, any of our grain-free programs, because maybe you do gut, but maybe you're more in what I call the mindset and the stress part of it, or the emotional eating. So this could be the emotional eating, or maybe you focus on gut and energy. So see how it's kind of figuring out not only what your ideal client wants, but like what lights you up. What lights you up? What do you love talking about? What do you find yourself talking about all the time that people are like, I know you for this? And if you don't know what you're known for, a really great exercise is to even ask 10 of your closest friends, what if you were to come to me and hire me, what would be the things that you know me for? And when we hear it from other people, it's like the light just goes off. So let's now go into autoimmune. We're talking the same game. I don't have to go over the template, but we're talking about freebies, workshops, gateway, next program. And if you go back to that original when we were here, no, that's not it. We were here. Freebie, where's it leading them? This can be, and that's why, like I always say, fill in the blank. Each of you have a sales funnel kit on our dashboard. And if you were on the webinar, you downloaded the 60K, 85K, 100K blueprint. There's fill in the blanks here of what do I want to offer? Who is this for? Where is it leading them? What does it cost? So a $17 to your $37 can be like the Nicole Jardine. And also you can kill two birds with one stone. You can do a live workshop as a masterclass. Let's just even say $35. And your goal is 20 people. That's $700. You take that and you make it what's called evergreen. You put it on your site and it's your signature workshop. Somebody goes and buys that signature workshop for $35, or you could even bring it down to 25 or 27 because it's not live and you're not answering questions, something like that. And it's what? It leads them when they buy to a thank you. Hey, thanks so much for, buying this leaky gut. I know that if I were to go back in time, I would have told my mom, please take these probiotics. Please do this before I'm born. Please do this when I'm born. It's sharing this vision of what you wish happened. Because the truth is, every baby is born with leaky gut. Every baby. And every person, what leaky gut is if you're looking at a screen, it's the holes in the screen. So when you get that histamine reaction or the hive shows up, it's your body saying, well, we just had a reaction. Gut's a little leaky. Whatever just spilled out, just flooded into the bloodstream, and now we're having a reaction, a C-reactive protein. So if you're talking autoimmune, you have to really decide what part of autoimmune, because that's a pretty big blanket. In my membership content box, I have something that's called Know Your Branch Story. Know that trunk. What are you always talking about? Is that autoimmune? Is that gut? But off of are the branches. These are these topics, this sub niche. So you might be working with people with chronic illness, and chronic illness, as I said, can be layers. It could be that you've got to detox, get the pathways open. Then you've got to do a deeper detox. Or maybe your client needs to, of course, go for testing to see if there's heavy metals, especially if there's been a history of toe fungus and athlete's foot and yeast infections, because heavy metals in the body, when the body, to protect itself, will produce a lot of yeast, to actually protect its organs. And so they usually go hand in hand. And then all of a sudden what happens is what? You have the metals, then you start to have the bacteria, the fungus, all the other stuff that goes in it. And then, and then the whole system starts to break down. So you want to first say, within autoimmune, am I working with people who have chronic illness? What is the path that I'm taking them through? Where are they at step 1? what is the next step? Am I working in the area of adrenals? Am I working in the area of like a Terry Wahls approach? Am I using the ketogenic program? A lot of people hear keto and they think, right away, weight loss. So let's just right here put sugar, weight loss. But if you're going with a Terry Wahls approach, this would be ketogenic or Chris Kressler, because your gateway could be the full detox and pivot one, because you're really, I call it pivoting. I had more clients with a variety of different autoimmune stuff. I think of one client, let's just call him E. E was put on, what was he put on? Not FODMAP, SCD diet. Yeah. Or he was put on like totally bone broth and all I think it was SCD. There's so many like FODMAP, all AIP, SCD, but I think it was SCD. And my brain's forgetting that. But he was put on something where it was all protein. And he said to me, the bags were so deep. And I said, maybe this high protein, I said, I'm not a doctor. And we were working with his doctor, so it was really cool. And that's why I always suggest for you guys that are working with these multifaceted, layered issues, co-collaborate or find, and this is where also finding local doctors or finding people that see and you're on the same page is really important, or co-coaching with some other coaches who specialize in testing or labs and can take care of that stuff, because he had some health issues that were definitely outside. It's not that I couldn't work with him, but it wasn't something that I could, that I was willing to work with. So he immediately, I could see that there was probably high ammonia from so many of the things that he had dealt with. And I was like, you know what, that coach, and he had worked with another iron coach. I was like, that coach put you on bone broth and more bone broth and collagen and glutamine and all these different things that are supposed to be good. But I thought to myself, in my experience, I had high glutamate issues. And a lot of people with autoimmune and chronic illness don't have, one, good methylation. Two, the ammonia doesn't get broken down properly when they're consuming protein, hence the work of Elaine Godshall with the standard, she has standard carbohydrate diet. He was put on the other diet. I forget what the name of those two guys that had it years ago. And I said, you know what, maybe we just try something completely different. We talked with his doctor, and she was like, oh my God, I think that's a great thing. Let's try it. And he was thriving on a vegetarian, doing so well. And fast forward to today, where he came eating 3 foods. He went off to college. He was able to go off to college. We were able to work with him through college. He then took an internship in London, and now he's like working in New York. So that's the kind of stuff that happens when we're able to pivot also and not just hold on to this dogmatic approach. That was just for me, guys, just because there were different things that worked for me at different times, and then they stopped working. Like one of my heroes is Donna Gates, when I was literally eating nothing. Similar story, not able to digest one thing. My acupuncturist gave me Donna Gates' book, and it was amazing. I was able to eat until it stopped working, and grains, I just wasn't doing well with them anymore. And I have a sneaky suspicion that it's probably because my gut was so leaky that it started to create histamine responses within it. And then I became intolerant to those very foods. So you could do a Terry Wahls, Chris Kressler approach. You could also, and the fall detox is not like phase 1, phase 2, because I do feel like a lot of people with autoimmune, their filtration is not working. Hence, when I was at my 3rd detox school, I took something one of these kind of droppers, and I took it and was like, oh, I'm going to just do a little parasite detox. And I broke out in this huge rash. And my teacher said, yep, you're not filtering because your skin is your third kidney. And so, you know, with autoimmune, there has to be a nice little dance. Another gateway, of course, could be your paleo. Another gateway, even for people with autoimmune, and I'm not saying like chronic Lyme, is, hold on, let me just stop sharing for 1 second. So we have so many programs that I have to just look at them first. Okay, so let's just look. 10-day detox is a really gentle one, 10-day sugar detox, because again, you want to think about also your people. Maybe somebody's like, oh my God, yeah, I want to get off sugar. Or just like with anybody, maybe you're going with more of like the emotional approach of autoimmune. And we probably are going to have to get to sugar on the other day, guys. If we were going with the emotional approach, I personally would go with kind of like reset your life in 21 days. I think that's a really beautiful one. I think this is where the next program becomes, I mean, and this depends where your focus is. I know for me, the adrenal part and what I love about that program is that could actually, because it's 8 weeks and they're books that are 2 weeks at a time. No, wait, where is it? 7, is it 7 different books? I think it's 7 different books. That really could be an 8-week course. That could even be a longer course. And I was telling a coach the other day who bought the program, I said, once you even get past the 8 weeks, I just would always say to clients, because a shopping list for 2 weeks takes 2 hours. I would just say, you know what, guys, we're going to just map out what we're going to eat. I'll get really clear. Is anybody traveling? Like if I was doing a group, if I was working with somebody one-on-one, most of my clients would send me menus if they were traveling. Or we would create what I called the travel kit, because they would say, you know, how do I call the hotel? How do I call these places? And I would give them the toolkit for that. And that's what I mean about, like, it's not just saying I have a gut program. I think that's what Sarah K. Hoffman did so well, and why she was one of the people I followed with such admiration, is everything was a solution. Her 21-day program was $97, but it was to then work with her 6 months in a group program. If you're working autoimmune in your one-on-one, it's probably going to be a longer process. If you're working, you know, even in a group, there is always, if there's deep layers, this other part, which is you want community, because it can be really scary. So I really want you to not just think about the program, but like, what are the needs of people who have autoimmune and chronic illness? A lot of people feel depressed and sad and overwhelmed. I know when I was going through, up until about this year, like autoimmune stuff and flares, it can get really depressing. And you sit there and go, like, why me? I don't know why this is happening. I'm doing everything great and the wind just blew. But that's when I started to understand this hormone component and really work with somebody, a hormone specialist, to understand like a week by week cycle, and understand also how it was affecting blood sugar, and started really working, of course, on things as what I call my toolkit, my CBD oil, my essential oils massively, and really brought them back in with homeopathy and NET that I do. So I feel like this would be the autoimmune and flares, because I just think that's a huge one. You might even have people, the detox. This could even be like a 5-day gut challenge. you might have people, of course, I love like the self-love bundle, but I also think that doing the brand new one, the ultimate gut bundle, I think that's amazing, because you could have a 5-day challenge that always just runs, and it runs people into a group, but niche that too. This is a 5-day gut challenge for people who want to thrive with their autoimmune, or don't want to just survive, like really make it focused. Or within autoimmune, like I said, this could be people you're working with who have Lyme or Hashimoto's, which we have the Hashimoto's workshop. This could be also PCOS, kind of like all these different, there could be a myriad of different things that are happening underneath autoimmune and stuff of that nature, skin issues, all different stuff, psoriasis. So you could have the 5-day. This could be the ultimate gut bundle. But the key is to take the content and then speak the clear messages, as we talked about in the beginning, to your ideal client. Like I always use the word busy, because I attracted really busy type A personality people. I was corporate. I was the girl I would wake up at 4:00 in the morning, go to the gym, be in before any other guy, boiler room setting. I mean, that was my life. And so I attracted a lot of people like that. And I also worked with a lot of athletes and people who were just in the gym a lot, or competitive athletes who had adrenal issues tying into gut. So it was a lot of the things, not just that I was saying, but also my personality. But the key thing that I keep saying is that's because I showed up, I did videos, I put them on YouTube, I took a chance, and I also did a lot of work meeting people locally. Even if you live in a community that can't afford, and I hear this all the time, or maybe you live in a community that's not so advanced in the things that you know about, meaning you wouldn't do a detox in a real small community, maybe, or maybe the community that you're in. I know somebody who works for one of my clients who lives in a small town in North Carolina, and she's like, I can barely get fresh produce. So if you live in a small town, talk, and she's like, it would just be great if people learned how to swap, their macaroni and cheese to a healthy one. Then talk about swaps. You can still focus on what I call your heart niche, like the one that, you just have to do this. And I talked to another coach the other day. She was like, I train like thousands of people in HR, but I have to do this because I got rid of my fibromyalgia and I was bedridden and I couldn't even function. And they told me, just, you're going to be done. She was like, I know I have to do this. There are those of you that have gone to hell and back, or witnessed somebody, or have a child. There's something that motivated you to get here. And the question that I always want you to ask is, what is this potential person that you want to work with you? What are they Googling? And are you visible enough in different places, whether it's online or offline? Even a $10 workshop with 15 people is $150. And that $150, as we discussed up here, leads to what? An upsell. This is the process of a business. This is how you figure out, how do I actually get to the point where there is never a missed opportunity? And if there is, that person was not meant to work with you. Maybe they will down the line. Maybe they need more first dates. They need to download. And how many of you, because I've heard this hundreds and hundreds of times, I have followed you for a year. I have downloaded, and this was in my health business. I have downloaded every freebie. I have attended every webinar. I even did your challenges. And I always said, I want to work with her. No, maybe I'm just going to be in the same place that I was. That's a big thing with autoimmune, because autoimmune and gut people too, if, are jaded, that you've been through the system. So you're looking for somebody to share the truth about what's going to happen. So a big thing in your freebies that you really want to get across, and you may have to, kind of add in some key things to any of the ones that we have. You could either do like, how to thrive on the autoimmune protocol, or you can, of course, look at one of the programs like Candida, AIP. And for those of you who are new, you'll see that all of the freebies and the PowerPoints in there kind of match the theme, of course. So that could be Candida, AIP, adrenal, Candida. This could also, of course, be if I was taking somebody to you might even, if you don't have a specific way of coaching, this could be mindset makeover. This could even be with like eat with intention. Sugar repair. The whole goal is that you're going to have to, when you're dealing with, let's just say, gut or autoimmune, you're going to have to, and that's another thing, workshop is, this might also be SIBO, that person with an autoimmune. Of course, like detox for immune health. And for those of you, and we'll end with this, for those of you who have practices like where you're doing intermittent fasting, or you have a certain way of doing your day that really works for you, maybe that's, rebounding, maybe that's contrast showering, maybe that's doing sauna, maybe it's like IV nutrients, maybe it's B12 shots, whatever are the things that have worked for you, it's those things that you infuse in there. Or for those of you who do any network marketing, from CBD oil to zeolite to glutathione to supplementation, it's infusing it into your program. People always say, can I put this into the program? And I say, it's just part of your life. If you're not putting them into your program, you're doing it yourself a disservice, because the best network marketing strategy is attraction marketing. And if you can take attraction marketing and apply that even to your business, and I think of actually this one coach, Sean, he's a ketogenic coach, and he's a biohacker on Instagram that I follow. And I love watching him because he shares what he does daily. I follow people that share what they do daily. So I'm inspired. So I learn. And so what happens? That is a funnel. You get inspired, you learn, you want to click. It may take 20, 30, 40 times for somebody to see something. And it also may take you that time to test. And that's why I always say split test, even, a freebie with a different name, because it's in that message that you're getting super clear on what your ideal client wants. And then boom, how to create a course. What do you want to name it? What is it going to be? What is the system? What is the process? All of a sudden you're like, oh my God, this is crystal clear. And it just flows out of your mouth. So I know this was a long one, guys. I just felt like this is such a huge topic that we had to just deep dive in. So thank you for, watching. If you have any questions, go to yourhealthcoachbiz.com. And if you're like, Rach, I need help figuring out like what programs to buy, or a bundle for your business, meaning like your freebie, your workshop, I'll help you figure it out. We'll get on a Zoom call. So please go on over to yourhealthcoachbiz.com. If you want to go and check out how, like our free course, how to create a profitable business, I think is step one go to rachelafeldman.com and you go to the free tool page and you will see that course right there. So with that being said, guys, it was awesome to be with you. I'm going to peace out now, and I will see you guys later. Hope this helped. Keep it simple. Simple always wins the race. For those of you launching in September, that is the exact reason that we have a 30-day launch plan right under your dashboard when you buy. And also plan out your launch. I know that people were asking me even today about great times to launch. Don't just launch like the day after Labor Day, because that means that you have to have a sales page even going right now. No, give yourself time. Plan that for like a second week, third week. I even have a lot of clients going the first week of October to give time for the pre-marketing, the story to be told. I call it my 2 and 2 method. 2 weeks of that storytelling, creating the buzz, 2 weeks of open cart, and then you start your program. So if you have any questions or you feel confused, take a deep breath, guys. It's been a pleasure to be with you. I will talk to you soon. Again, my name is Rachel Feldman. And I get it because I coached for so many years. So I understand how overwhelming it can be. But it's good. We're all good. That's why we're here. We're here to help. All right. Peace out, guys. See you later.